I woke up in my father's body that morning, his silk pajamas clinging to skin that wasn't mine. And the first thing I did was piss on the family portrait in his study. It wasn't rage that drove me, it was clarity, the kind that hits like a freight train after years of swallowing lies. And as his Rolex ticked on my new wrist, I whispered to the empty room, "Your empire's mine now, Dad. Time to burn it down from the inside. My name's Claire Harlan. Or at least it was before the swap.
28.
Broke. And blacklisted from every decent job in Chicago because of the mess I'd cleaned up for the family. That mess? A corporate fraud so deep it could have sunk the Harlan Group, Dad's billion-dollar real estate empire. But it wasn't his screw-up.
No.
That honor went to my golden boy brother,
Ethan,
who'd cooked the books to cover his coke habit and side hustles with shady developers. I took the fall, forged my signature on the audits, played the loyal daughter to keep the feds off our doorstep. 5 years probation, a felony record, and a one-way ticket out of the life I thought was mine. Dad's words still echo like a bad country ballad. Don't come back.
Claire.
You've done enough damage. That was 2 years ago, after the plea deal. I cut them off that next day, changed my number, torched the last Harlan credit card in a Wrigleyville bonfire, and vanished into the South Side, scraping by on gig work and spite. Ethan got the corner office. Mom pretended I was a phase she'd outgrown. They thrived while I hustled Ubers at midnight, dodging repo men and memories. But fate, that cruel Midwestern bitch, had other plans. It started with a freak accident, or so the cops called it. Late-night drive home from a bar shift, rain slicking the Dan Ryan like oil on a snake. Some asshole in a black Escalade clips me, sends my Civic spinning into the guardrail. Lights out. Next thing I know, I'm gasping awake in a hospital bed that smells like bleach and regret. But it's not my body staring back from the mirror. Broad shoulders, salt and pepper hair, a jawline carved from too many boardroom battles. Victor Harlan. My father. Doctors called it a miracle. Coma for 3 days. Then poof, awake. Coherent. Demanding his lawyer. But I knew better. In those hazy first hours, as nurses fussed over Mr. Harlan, fragments hit me, a whispered deal in a Cayman backroom. Some experimental neurotech trial Ethan had buried in the company's R&D slush fund. Body swapping via neural mapping, meant for stroke victims. But Dad's ego twisted it into an escape hatch. He'd been prepping for it, scanning his brain, his habits, everything. The crash? No accident. A hit to force the transfer. To jump into a fresh vessel while his damaged one rotted away from pancreatic cancer he never told us about. I was the vessel. His perfect, disposable spare part, flesh and blood, mapped years ago during routine family checkups at the company clinic. Betrayal doesn't get deeper than that. He'd planned to erase me, slip into my life like a ghost in the machine, leaving his dying shell for the undertakers. But the tech glitched. Or maybe it was karma's middle finger. Whatever it was, here I was, Claire in Victor's skin, with his voice rumbling like gravel in my throat, his memories flickering at the edges like bad VHS tape. The hospital discharged me, him, with a slap on the back and a script for oxycodone. I played the part, limping out in a chauffeured town car, Ethan at the wheel, droning about quarterly projections like I gave a damn. His eyes darted to the rear view, suspicious, but I just nodded. Let Dad's baritone murmur agreements. Back at the Gold Coast penthouse, Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan's moody gray. I locked myself in the master suite. That's when the real hooks sink in. I stripped naked, stood before the full-length mirror in the marble bathroom, and traced the scars that weren't mine. Appendix from '98. Golf ball divot on the knee from Pebble Beach. But beneath it all, my soul itched, a wrongness that made his stomach churn. Dad's secrets unspooled in flashes. The offshore accounts, the bribes to zoning boards, the affair with his exec assistant that birthed a shadow kid he paid off yearly. And me, I'd borne the brunt of his sins since Mom's accident, that yacht collision off Mackinac Island. Ruled manslaughter but whispered as insurance fraud. I'd lied for him then.
2.
At 16. Swearing I saw the drunk captain's lights when I hadn't. Deep down, I'd always known. The Harlans weren't builders. We were demolishers. Paving over truth with cash and connections. That night, as the city hummed below, I made my first move. Dad's phone, unlocked with his face, which was now mine, buzzed with texts from the board. Urgent, a whistleblower threatening to drop the fraud docs I'd buried.
Ethan.
That weasel had slipped up again. I smiled, felt the unfamiliar creases deepen around Victor's eyes. Time to cut deeper than they ever had me. The next 48 hours blurred into a masterclass in Harlan ruthlessness. I summoned the family lawyer, a slick ferret named Hargrove, to the study. Oak-paneled walls lined with first editions Dad never read, a Persian rug stained from some long-forgotten Scotch spill. Change the will, I growled, Victor's timbre making Hargrove flinch. Everything to a trust. Claire Harlan gets nothing, hell. Write her out like she never existed. He blinked, stammered about fiduciary duties. But I leaned in, dropped the bomb, or I go public with the Mackinac files. Your cut of the settlement?
Gone.
He folded like cheap origami.
By dawn.
It was done. Ethan got a call at breakfast, caviar omelets and black coffee in the sunroom, informing him of his promotion. His grin was all teeth, like a coyote spotting roadkill. Dad. You old dog. About time you saw sense. Mom, perched like a faded socialite in her Chanel, just sipped her mimosa, eyes vacant as the lake view. They didn't suspect a thing. Why would they? I was the screw-up, the black sheep who'd vanished into irrelevance. But I wasn't done carving. Using Dad's credentials, I accessed the company servers, firewalls that parted like the Red Sea for Victor Harlan. There it was, Project Echo, the body swap tech, buried in an encrypted folder labeled Legacy Planning, blueprints, trial logs, Ethan's emails begging for a test run on problem assets.
Me.
They'd slotted me in as the prototype vessel, a low-risk candidate because of my instability. Rage boiled, hot and metallic, but I channeled it. I leaked snippets to a burner account, funneled them to a journalist at the Tribune I'd met during my gig days. Not enough to topple the empire, yet. Just enough to make the shares twitch. The controversial calls came fast. First, I greenlit a demolition on the South Side project. One Dad had stalled for community outreach. Bulldozers rolled at dawn, flattening blocks where folks like my Uber regulars lived, folks who'd trusted Harlan promises of relocation funds that never came. Protests erupted by noon, chants echoing up to the penthouse. Harlan kills dreams. Ethan's team spun it as progress. But I watched from the balcony, cigar in hand, Dad's vice, acrid on my tongue, feeling the city's pulse quicken with hate. Was it justice? Or just trading one betrayal for another? The line blurred. and that tension coiled in my gut like a live wire. Then came the personal gut punch. I drove the Bentley to my old walk-up in Pilsen, the one with the leaky roof and murals of Aztec warriors on the bricks. Claire's body, my body, was there, or so the swap logs implied. The glitch hadn't fully severed, neural echoes lingered. A tether. I buzzed up, heart hammering in Victor's barrel chest. The door creaked open, and there I was, me, disheveled in sweats, eyes wide with the same horror I'd felt days ago. "Dad," she whispered, voice cracking like mine used to. We stared, two sides of a shattered mirror. She was trapped in his dying shell, pale, jaundiced, the cancer gnawing from within. "What the hell did you do?" she rasped. Victor's timbre twisted with my fear. I stepped inside, the apartment a time capsule of my exile, eviction notices pinned to the fridge, half-eaten ramen on the counter.
Me?
This was your plan B, old man. Escape the Reaper. Dump the mess on your failure of a daughter. The argument exploded, accusations flying like shrapnel. She begged for reversal, swore it was Ethan's idea, a safeguard after my fraud fall.
Lies.
All of it. I saw the truth in those faded eyes. He'd always seen me as expendable, the girl who'd mop up after the boys. I left her there, door slamming, with a single promise: live with it. Like I did. Back in the penthouse. The net tightened. Ethan cornered me in the gym that evening, sweat dripping from his CrossFit reps, tank top clinging to a body sculpted by personal trainers. "Dad, what's with the leaks?" Bored spooked. I toweled off Victor's brow, met his gaze in the mirror, two predators sizing up. "Cleaning house, son. Time to excise the rot." His laugh was forced, but the flicker of doubt, delicious. That night, sleep evaded me. Dad's bed was a king-size prison, sheets like ice against skin that chafed. Memories bled through, holidays at the Michigan cabin, me building snow forts while Ethan learned stock tips by the fire. Mom's laugh, brittle even then. The secret she'd chanted in my dreams since the swap: the yacht wasn't an accident. Dad had rigged the lines, cashed the policy to fund his first big deal. I'd borne that lie, testified to save him, because family was all I had. Now, it was my weapon. Dawn broke with a board meeting via Zoom, faces from New York to LA, all suits and skepticism. I chaired it from the study, Victor's presence commanding the screen. "We're pivoting," I announced, voice steady as Lake Superior ice. Full audit. No sacred cows. Gasps rippled. Ethan's feed froze for a beat. By close, I'd suspended his privileges. Cited irregularities. The stock dipped 8%, but the adrenaline? Pure firewater. The retaliation hit like a Chicago wind off the lake. Anonymous tips to the feds, my old fraud case reopened, questions about new evidence. Hargrove called. Sweating. "Victor. They're circling." "Pull back." I laughed, deep and hollow. "Let them come. I've got bigger fish." But the real storm brewed at home. Mom cornered me in the kitchen, her Botox-smooth face cracking with unpracticed emotion. "What's happened to you? This isn't you." For a split second, I almost broke, told her everything, begged for the mother who'd braided my hair before cotillions. Instead, I poured Victor's scotch.
Neat.
Blame Claire. She's poisoned the well. Her slap stung. A red bloom on his cheek. That girl's dead to us. Don't you dare invoke her. The cut was mutual now, deeper than any disownment. I escalated, funneled funds to shell companies, siphoned just enough to fund the Trib leaks. Protests swelled outside Harlan Tower, fists raised against the man I wore like an ill-fitting coat. One night, a brick shattered the penthouse window, glass raining like accusations. Ethan burst in, wild-eyed. This is her, isn't it? That bitch is back. The accusation hung. Electric. I turned, slow. Let the shadows play across Victor's features.
Who?
Your sister? The one you framed to save your ass. His face drained, realization dawning like a bad trip. The fight was brutal, fists, furniture splintering, blood on the Berber. He landed a haymaker to my jaw, but I was Dad's build now, unyielding oak. I pinned him, whispered the truth. It's me, Ethan.
Claire.
And I'm ending this. He bucked, eyes bulging. Impossible. The swap, Dad's dead meat. You're him, denial, sweet as forbidden fruit. But the seed cracked. He went limp, babbling about reversal protocols, the tech's failsafe in a Swiss vault. A lifeline or a trap? We called a truce, uneasy as a South Side ceasefire. Drove to O'Hare at midnight, private jet to Zurich. Mom stayed behind, oblivious or uncaring. I didn't look back. The vault was a fortress. Retinal scans bypassed with Dad's eyes, mine now. Codes from his fragmented memories.
Inside.
The device hummed sleek. Alien. Like something out of a Nolan flick. Ethan hooked us up. Needles pricking veins. Monitors beeping our synced heartbeats. As the machine whirred, pulling souls like threads from a loom, the twist hit harder than any crash. Flashes, not just Dad's sins,
But mine.
I'd known about the yacht. Yes, but I'd forged those audits, not just for Ethan.
For me.
A skim from the fund, petty cash for my own debts, a gambling spiral I'd hidden since college. Dad's cancer? I'd dosed his scotch with the pain meds that accelerated it, whispered suggestions during his rants about ungrateful kids. Revenge. Even then.
Simmering.
The truth reversed. I wasn't the victim. We were mirrors. Harlan's all, betrayers by blood. The machine peaked, light strobing, and I chose. Not reversal. Integration. Let Claire and Victor bleed together. A hybrid monster with both our poisons. We woke in the vault. Ethan slumped against the console, jet-lagged and broken. It worked, he croaked. I sat up, felt the seamlessness, no itch. Just power. Amplified. Dad's cunning laced with my grit. Better, I said, voice a blend, resonant as thunder over the Alps. Back in Chicago, the empire didn't burn. It evolved. I exposed the fraud, Ethan's.
Mine.
Dad's on a live earnings call. Shares cratering like the '08 crash. Feds swarmed the tower. Mom vanished to Capri with the offshore cash.
Ethan?
I cut him a deal, testify, get immunity, but lose the name. He slunk away, a ghost in witness protection. As for me, Claire Victor, or whatever the hell I am now. The penthouse sold. Proceeds to a South Side trust, reparations for the demolished dreams. I live in Pilsen now, in that leaky walk-up, but with Harlan Resources, funding startups for ex-felons, auditing the corrupt. Some call it redemption, others, a con artist's pivot. Protests still chant outside my door some nights. Bricks replaced by questions, hero or Hydra. Last week, a letter arrived, no return address. Mom's script. You were always the strongest. Darling, don't come back. I burned it. Watched the ashes dance in the wind off the viaduct. The ending? Yours to debate. Justice served. Or just another Harlan hustle. In this city of second chances and buried bodies. Who's to say? But one thing's certain. What Dad did after. It didn't change everything. It set me free. The integration wasn't clean. Waking in Zurich, with Ethan's snores echoing off the vault's steel walls. I felt it, like oil and water in a shaken jar. Sloshing, but never mixing. Victor's memories dominated at first. The thrill of closing the loop deal in '05. Champagne corks popping in the signature room as the skyline glittered like fool's gold. But mine clawed back. Nights in the ER after bar shifts. Stitching up knife wounds on strangers while dreaming of escape. We'd fused.
All right.
But the seams chafed. Phantom pains where Claire ended and Victor began. Ethan stirred, rubbing his neck like a man discovering a noose. Claire?
Shit.
It's really you. His voice cracked. Boyish for once. Stripped of the boardroom bluster. I stood, testing the legs, Dad's. Longer strides. But with my balance, honed from dodging potholes on the Dan Ryan. Half and half. Little brother. Enough to know you're next on the list. He bolted up. Hands raised like a perp at a traffic stop.
Whoa.
Wait, we can fix this. The full protocol. There's a backup in the lab. Dad, we planned for contingencies. Contingencies. Harlan speak for screw the little guy. I laughed. A hybrid rumble that made him flinch. Planned? Like you planned to frame me for your blow-fueled embezzlement? Or Dad planning to ghost into my skin while his rotted out? The vault door hissed open, biometrics recognizing Victor's palm print, and we spilled into the clinic hallway. Fluorescent buzz like a migraine. A night tech. Some Eastern European kid with a Harlan Group lanyard. Jumped at the sight of us. Mr. Harlan, you're early from stasis. I waved him off. Commandeered his tablet. Flight logs. Security feeds. The hit-and-run Escalade traced to a Shell rental. Driver a ghost paid in crypto. Ethan's doing. No doubt. Tying up loose ends. We flew back commercial. My call? A jab at the private jet life. Coach to O'Hare. Crammed between a snoring trucker and a harried mom with a toddler kicking my shin. Victor would have bellowed for first class. Claire would have shrugged it off. The new me savored the anonymity, the press of real lives against the armor. Ethan fidgeted the whole way, scrolling his phone, deleting texts like a kid hiding porn. The board's freaking, he muttered. Stocks down 12%. Mom's calling nonstop. Good, I said, popping Victor's complimentary peanuts. Let it bleed. Touchdown in Chicago felt like slipping into an old coat, humid air thick with jet fuel and distant thunder. The city welcomed us with a snarl of traffic, horns blaring as we cabbed to the tower. Harlan Group HQ loomed like a steel monolith on Michigan Avenue. Glass facade reflecting the Mag Miles holiday lights, early December. Garish and indifferent. Protesters had doubled since the leaks, signs bobbing. Harlan hoards while we starve. A sea of faces I'd bulldozed in my old life. Security waved us through, but whispers followed. Mr. Harlan looks off. In the elevator, Ethan cornered me again. Claire sis whatever. This revenge kick? It's suicide. The feds are already sniffing. That audit you called? It's digging up your forgeries, too. My forgeries? The skim I'd taken. $50,000 wired to a Vegas bookie to cover poker debts from Northwestern days. Victor's influence had amplified it, turned a lapse into a lifestyle. Our forgeries. Ethan. Blood's thicker than ink. The boardroom was a war zone, laptops aglow, coffee cups ringed with stains, Hargrove pacing like a caged hyena. Victor, thank God. The whistleblower's got docs, dated to your signature. I took the head seat, Dad's throne of polished walnut, and let silence stretch like taffy. Then let's talk truth. Project Echo. The fraud. All of it. Jaws dropped. One Veep, a Botoxed battle axe named Lydia, sputtered. That's classified insane. Ethan jumped in. Loyal lapdog. Dad stressed. Post-coma delirium. I slid a thumb drive across the table. Echo files. Pulled from the vault. Delirious enough to know this tech was greenlit on your watch. Lydia. And your kickbacks from the Southside devs. Ethan? Itemized. Chaos erupted, shouts. Chairs scraping. Hargrove fumbling for his phone. I leaned back. Felt Victor's charisma surge like adrenaline. We're confessing. Full disclosure. Or I walk. And the whole rotten course spills to the street. They buckled. One by one. By meeting's end, a press release drafted, Harlan Group to self-report irregularities. Leadership transition pending. The fallout was biblical. CNBC looped the announcement. Pundits crowing about the end of an era. Shares tanked 22%. Wiping billions. Victor's legacy in red ink. Mom called from her spa retreat in Scottsdale. Victor, have you lost your mind? The Hamptons Galas in 2 weeks. I hung up mid-sentence. Blocked the number. Controversial? Hell. It was scorched earth. But as the tower emptied, executives fleeing like rats from a blaze, a quiet satisfaction bloomed, Claire's. The girl who'd once picketed her own family's evictions. That evening, alone in the penthouse, I pored over the books. Victor's mind was a Rolodex of shadows. The Mackinac payout. Laundered through Mom's charity galas. Ethan's coke pipeline from Miami suppliers. Disguised as construction materials. And me, the appendix scar hit a tattoo from a wild Vegas weekend. Inked after winning big on a bluff, before the losses swallowed me whole. The fusion sharpened it all, no more denial. Just cold calculus. Ethan showed up unannounced. Bottle of Macallan in hand, Dad's favorite. A peace offering. We drank on the balcony. City lights smearing in the drizzle. Why now? He asked, slurring slightly. You could have just taken it all. Lived as him. I swirled the scotch. Amber catching the glow. Because being you, us, is poison. I took the fall to protect this family once. Won't again. He nodded. Too buzzed to argue. But his eyes gleamed with schemes. Halfway through the bottle, he pitched it. Runaway together. South America. New IDs. Fresh start. Tempting. In a twisted sibling bond way. But Victor's pragmatism kicked in. Runs end in ditches. Extradited and broke. No, I said. You testify. Clean slate for you. If you drag the dirt with you. His face twisted. Betrayal's echo. After everything? You're still screwing me over. He lunged. Glass shattering on the tile. But I sidestepped. Claire's reflexes in Victor's frame. We grappled, tumbling against the railing, wind whipping like accusations. Below, the magnificent mile pulsed oblivious. Everything, I hissed,
Pinning his arm.
You dosed my drink before the crash. Paid the driver. For this. He froze. Confirmation in his silence. The betrayal layered deeper, not just Dad's plan, but Ethan's acceleration. I let him go, chest heaving. He slunk away at dawn, tail between legs, but not before swiping a server key fob, petty theft, or prelude to war. The days blurred into a tense standoff. Feds raided the tower, suits with warrants rifling drawers while I stonewalled from the C-suite. Victor's lawyer-speak a shield. Lydia flipped first, spilling on the bribes for a plea. Mom wired a final goodbye from a numbered account, $500,000. Her apology in digits. I donated it to the protesters' legal fund. Anonymous. Watching their signs multiply. Justice for the displaced. But the real tension coiled in the quiet hours. Nightmares hybrid now. Victor's cancer dreams. Tumors blooming like ink in water. Merged with my crash, metal twisting. Glass exploding. Ethan's laugh on the line moments before. I'd wake sweating. Check the mirror. Eyes that were his, haunted by mine. The power was intoxicating. Board votes swayed with a glance. Deals folded at my word, but the cost? Isolation. A ghost in my own skin. Climax brewed on a Friday. Snow dusting the loop like powdered regret. Ethan texted coordinates. A derelict warehouse on the west side. Neutral ground. Trap? Summit? I went armed. Victor's Beretta from the safe. Cold in my palm. The place reeked of rust and rat shit. Sodium lights buzzing overhead. He waited in the shadows. Flanked by 2 goons. Ex-cops. Harlan retainers. Bulges under their jackets. Claire, he called. Voice echoing. Or Dad. Whoever the fuck you are. I stepped forward, gun loose at my side. Call me Harlan. Last of the line. His grin was feral. Not if I end this. The reversal, it's ready. But you walk away clean. Or if these boys make it permanent. The choice hung. Controversial as a loaded chamber. Shoot, surrender the fusion. Revert to fragile Claire. Felony and all, or double down. Embrace the monster? The goons shifted. Hands twitching. Ethan's eyes, mirror of mine, pleaded. But I saw the lie. Reversal would strand me in Dad's corpse. Comatose and cold. I raised the Beretta. Steady. You first. Chaos exploded, shots cracking. Shadows lunging. I dropped one goon with a knee to the groin. Victor's strength a hammer. The other grazed my shoulder. Fire blooming. Ethan bolted for a side door. But I tackled him. Concrete biting knees. Why? I snarled. Barrel to his temple. For the shares? The thrill? Tears streaked his face. First I'd seen. For survival. Like you taught me. The twist gutted. Survival. We'd both skimmed. Both lied. Both betrayed to breathe. Siblings in sin. Sirens wailed distant. Blues closing in. I holstered. Hauled him up. Testify. Or I pull it. He nodded. Broken. As cuffs clicked later that night, anonymous tip. My doing. The truth reversed again. Not revenge. But reckoning. We'd all borne crimes. Swapped or not. Winter clammed Chicago like a vice after the warehouse dust up. Lake effect snow burying the scars. Ethan lawyered up in a federal holding cell, singing like a canary on payday. Echo's origins. The fraud web. Even Mom's role in the Mackinac accident. Her hand steady on the wheel that night. Dad's insurance play her emancipation fund. The headline screamed, Harlan dynasty crumbles. Incestuous empire exposed. Pundits debated on Fox and MSNBC. Fall of American greed. Or witch hunt on job creators. I watched from the walk-up, heating pad on my grazed shoulder. Victor's baritone humming old Sinatra tunes to drown the noise. The fusion settled. Uneasy truce between souls. Claire's empathy leaked through in quiet acts, volunteering at a South Side clinic, bandaging the displaced I'd once displaced. Victor's ambition? Channeled into a new venture, Harlan Redemption Fund, seeding affordable housing on raised lots. Controversial as hell. Critics called it white guilt-mongering. Beneficiaries whispered of strings attached. But the first families moved in by spring, kids' laughter echoing where bulldozers once roared. Debatable progress. Or performative penance. Mom surfaced in the tabloids first, arrested in Capri. Yacht impounded. Her charity unraveled as a slush fund. She plea-bargained to 5 years. White-collar wing at Alderson. A letter smuggled out. Forgive me, Victor Claire. We built this cage together. I visited once. Plexiglass between us. Her face a map of regrets unbotoxed. You were always the fixer, she said, voice frail. Fix us now. I pressed my palm to the glass, hybrid hand, ringless. Too late.
Mom.
Cage is open. Fly or rot. Ethan's trial was the circus. June's swelter in the Dirksen courthouse. Reporters swarming like gnats. He took the stand in a cheap suit. No Harlan polish. Spilling guts for a reduced sentence. 10 years. Minimum security. His testimony gutted me. Claire knew. The skim, she started it. Pulled me in. Lies. Half-truths. Our shared sins twisted to save his skin. I testified, too. Under immunity. Voice steady. We all pulled triggers. Some just aimed better. The jury bought it, convictions all around. Empire liquidated to pay restitution. But the real twist lingered in the aftermath. A shadow no plea could banish. Late one night, post-trial, I cracked the last echo file, a video log from Dad's pre-swap scans. Him, gaunt in the clinic, monologuing to the camera. Claire's the key. Not Ethan, too soft. She's got the fire, the will to endure. If I jump, it's to her. Give her my strength, not erasure. Augmentation. He'd chosen me, not as discard, but heir. The hidden run? Ethan's rogue move. Mom's desperation to preserve her boy. The swap, Dad's final gift. Or curse. It reversed everything. Betrayal? Mutual mentorship in monstrosity. I'd borne crimes. Yes, but borne them to become unbreakable. Victor's cancer-riddled body. Left in my old apartment. Withered quietly, no reversal. No fanfare. Organ donation. Anonymous. Fitting end for the shell.
Now.
18 months post-climax. I'm Claire Harlan, officially. After the courts untangled the soul swap legal limbo with psych evals and NDAs. The walk-up's mine. Roof patched with fund money. No penthouse views. Just viaduct trains rumbling like heartbeats. I date sporadically, a barista with tattoos and trust issues. Echoes of my old self. We argue politics over deep dish. Is redemption real? Or just rebranding? Protesters still knock sometimes. Not with bricks, but petitions, more housing, better oversight. I listen, fund what I can, cut what smells like grift. Ethan's letters come monthly from Leavenworth. Miss the game.
Sis.
Teach the kid inside me better. I reply sporadically. Seeds of something, forgiveness? Or just survival's sly grin. Dad's words, don't come back, echo less now. Reframed. Not banishment, but baptism by fire. I cut them off. Yes, but what he did after infused me with the tools to rebuild, controversial and raw. The ending? No tidy bow. Some say I won, Empress of Ashes. Others, I lost, soul fractured, family fractured. Debated over beers at the local, hero, villain, or the American dream's jagged edge.
Me?
I wake each morning, check the mirror, eyes clearer, scars faded.
Pour Coffee Black.
Step into the fray. Chicago doesn't sleep, and neither do I. The Harlans endure, one fused heartbeat at a time. What Dad did after changed everything. Damn right. It made me